James Wan confronts Aquaman 2 reshoot rumours and Amber Heard claiming her role was pared down. The sequel never prioritised Mira, which is true. They reduced her role on the script development because she was a problem then. Walter Hamada tried to replace her but couldn't do it because Amber's people were very clever and put a stop to it. That would have been the best situation. The Amber Heard situation isn't WB's fault. Ahead of the official trailer for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, launching September the 14th, director James Wann spoke to Entertainment Weekly about many of the rumours circulating the DC sequel. The tentpole has been plagued by reports of a disastrous post-production, which isn't true, that allegedly included 3 rounds of reshoots as the film got caught in the middle of the executive overhaul at DC Studios, which is now run by James Gunn and Peter Safran. The 2 co-CEOs are spearheading a new DC universe outside of the one Aquaman 2 was connected for, right? Or conceived for, right? So this is very, very interesting, right? A normal studio or a normal person, not James Gunn, comes in and goes, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, gonna be released, let's leave it alone. Let James Wan do what he wants to do with the movie, let's just do a fresh reboot. But they've been interfering and giving this movie notes, and I can officially confirm to you here, now and today that James Wan and James Gunn have clashed, and I can also confirm to you that James Wan has won the fight, and this will be James Wan's movie. Have no fears about that. The tricky thing early on was not knowing whether Aquaman would come out first or come out after The Flash, so we just had to be prepared, Wann said. At the end of the day, the best thing I would say about this movie is that it's not connected in any way to any of those films. That's the bottom line. Let's repeat what he just said, because he just slayed the rest of the DCEU, and I think it's brilliant, and I'm here for it. At the end of the day, the best thing I would say about this movie is that it's not connected in any way to any of those films. That's the bottom line. So as you can see already, very direct, very straight to the point. He ain't fucking around. Let me translate to you what James Wan is saying. Thank God my movie isn't connected to those other pieces of shit. And so say all of us. Reports claim that Batman actors such as Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton were brought in for Aquaman 2 reshoots, but they also appeared in The Flash. Does that mean Wann didn't need to utilise Batman after all, since The Flash first? That's a no comment right now, James Wan says. He said you're going to have to wait for the movie to come out. So this is very, very interesting. It's clear from Wan's answer there that there will be a version of Batman in this movie. Will it be Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton? Will it be George Clooney? Now, if Gunn gets his own way, it's going to be Clooney. This is something that maybe James Wan wouldn't have had much of a choice. These are not decisions he can make. Say it's a post-credit scene. Maybe Wan got his way and they said, just put it in the post-credit scene so I don't have to deal with it within the structure of my movie. So it looks like a version of Batman or Batmen are going to cameo in this movie. Very, very interesting. And once I go and see that early screening, I'm going to know for sure. I've already told you, been direct and honest with you, about the early test screening I saw. It had Michael Keaton's Batman in it, and he was great. According to Entertainment Weekly, Wann did not dispute a claim that Gunn weighed in on the Aquaman sequel now that he's in charge of DC Studios. But Wann added, I've known James since way back, right? We're horror guys, and so I'm definitely open to ideas. But at the end of the day, this is my movie. So James Wan making absolutely clear that he's a collaborator, that he's fine, he has a relationship with James Gunn, they know each other. He'll, you know, if he makes suggestions, he may say yes, he may say no. But at the end of the day, this is James Wan's movie. I think there have been clashes. I believe there have been clashes from what I've heard. I've already said to you, basically, Wann and Gunn have gone to the mat, and Wann has won. Because James Wann is not to be messed with. He's a very, very, in-charge director. He's very, very talented and doesn't need James Gunn's damn suggestions. But it's his movie. He says it on here. And I love this direct talk from James Wann. Wann also insisted that reshoots on Aquaman 2 were no different than any other major Hollywood tentpole. We have big actors in this movie and everyone's schedule is really hard, he said. So we had to break up our shooting schedule into sections. We'll shoot a bit here now because this actor's available, and then we'll do another shoot now because this guy's available. People are like, oh, they're doing a whole bunch of different shoots. No, if we actually combine them all together, it's actually not that many number of days at all. This is brilliant. This is brilliant because Wann is coming out fighting. He's not mincing. He's not going. Well, he's not. You can tell he's not bullshitting. This is James Wann straight talk. He's kept very quiet for a very long time. It's time to promote the movie, and he's giving straight talk. Audiences, online and offline, will absolutely love this, and this will help the movie. I believe in James Wann. James Wann don't make bad shit. It's as simple as that. But Warner Brothers are not promoting this movie. James Wann is, and that's even better. Have you noticed how quiet James Gunn has been? And ever since this movie was announced 4 days ago to have a trailer, nothing from Gunn. I haven't seen anything from Gunn. Anyway, as I said a couple of days ago, I don't even think I think he's too scared to come onto Twitter these days because the environment is so anti-Gunn. Very, very interesting. We'll see what happens after the trailer if he promotes it like he did the others on his Instagram. I'll be watching. Wann was also asked about Amber Heard, who plays Mira in the comic book film franchise during her 2022 defamation trial involving Johnny Depp. Heard claimed in court that Warner Brothers didn't want to include me in the Aquaman sequel due to the fallout of her divorce from Depp. She said her role in the sequel was pared down and action scenes were taken away. I actually did see those action scenes in the early test screenings and they were very, very good. But yeah, they didn't want her in the movie. They wanted to recast her. I even know who they wanted to replace her with. Have your guesses now if you want. But, Walter Hamada tried. He's done a lot of bad shit over there. But Walter Hamada did this right. He really tried to get rid of her and he couldn't. According to Wann, however, the sequel was never meant to focus on Mira and Aquaman the way the first movie did in 2018. He said, Aquaman 2 always prioritised Aquaman's relationship to his villainous half-brother, Patrick Wilson, over his one to Mira. I always pitched this to everyone from the get-go, Wann said. The first Aquaman was Arthur and Mira's journey. The second movie was always going to be Arthur and So the first was a romance action-adventure movie. The second one is a bromance action-adventure movie. We'll leave it at that. So again, straight talk from James Wann, not messing around. He's basically confirming what I've already told you the movie is. And what I saw in the early test screening. Basically, a bro movie, a guy movie, a road movie basically, and an environmental movie. He's pretty much confirming what I've already told you. As for a potential third Aquaman movie, Wann confirmed that we've set up certain things in a good place in the second movie that you can definitely draw upon in a third. However, Wann stressed that he has no plans or stories for Aquaman 3 at this time. Would he direct? I don't know, he said. This film has taken up so much of my life, so much of my time. All I can think about now is taking a long break. Exactly what he said after the first movie. He had to be convinced to do a sequel. But I think if this movie makes money, there's no reason, considering the DC Universe isn't a full reboot, he can come back if this film makes money. I've got a feeling for this film. I've had feelings for films before and I've been wrong. You know, I'm biased towards DC. I love DC. I want all the films to do well. And if they're bad, I'll say they're bad. But you know what I mean? I want DC to do well. As well, you know, especially I never want to see a great DC movie like BVS or Man of Steel do badly, because that's a crime. But yeah, I'm all in on this film, but I will judge the trailer honestly. When we do the reaction on here, I'm going to do what I haven't done before. I'm not going to do those like reactions when I'm watching it. I'm going to have a blank face. Might be a bit boring for you guys, but then we'll get into it and I'll be honest. Because I want to be direct and honest about this film from the get-go, so there's no misunderstandings. But I really want James Wan and Jason Momoa to do well with this movie, because from what I saw in the early test screening, I really liked it. And I hope it wins. This is the one that deserves to win. This is the one I really had faith in. This was my most anticipated DC movie at the beginning of the year for this year. So hopefully it does well. And there's your article. So let's have a little bit of an extended chat about this situation. When there's so much negativity about your film, you have to come out and be vocal and direct and speak truths. And absolutely take no shit from the media or fans with different agendas from different fan communities. And James Wan has done exactly the right thing. I saw on Twitter a couple of people saying, well, he would say that. He would play it down. No, but he hasn't played anything down, has he? He said that him and James Gunn go back. They're both from horror, that he's happy to take ideas, but at the end of the day, it's his movie. So in other words, he was making the final decisions with his movie. Because this is what I said. You could take advantage of David F. Sandberg, the director of both Shazam movies. You could take advantage of Andy Muschietti, who's just a yes man. There's no question about that now. That's why he got a pat on the head and got Brave and the Bold, right? But this guy, Wan, doesn't mess about. This is a guy that's been with Warner Brothers probably most of his career, starting off with the horror division at New Line Cinema and getting this big opportunity to do Aquaman back in 2017, which was released in 2018. And he did a great job with that movie. He's a great producer as well as a director, and he knows his storytelling. This is one of my favourite directors, and as a DC fan, he really pleased me with the first Aquaman. But as I say, when people are saying a lot of shit about your movie, you've got to come out and hit the ground running. So far, so good. James has been very vocal. This is good. What's interesting is you don't normally get so many big interviews with a director just for a trailer. So it's clear that James Wan understands how important this opening trailer will be. I do expect a big 3-minute, 2.5-minute, 3-minute trailer with lots of stuff to excite us, the fans. I do expect that, and I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be epic, and I'm looking forward to watching it with you, my fellow DC fans. But yeah, so far, so good. Wan is doing exactly what I expected. And he said, look, you could tell a long time ago he was getting pissed off with the new regime at WB in terms of DC Studios and Gunn and Safran. I mean, he's worked with Safran with the first movie, and I think they got on quite well. But I think the problem is James Gunn is under orders from Zaslav to kind of make sure that nothing contradicts the new plan. I don't think there's much of a plan, but anyway, they shouldn't be interfering with Wan's movie, because Wan's movie should have nothing to do with DC Universe, because DC Universe should be a full reboot. But unfortunately, that's not the case. These people are clowns and they're making bad decisions and they're trying to take down other people's movies with them. And that will not do. So James Wan is a very, very strong personality, a very strong director, and I really like the noises he's making. So if you're a DC fan right now and wondering, should I go and watch Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom in December? My advice to you is wait to see what the marketing tells you. I would never tell you to support something just because I'm supporting it. That would be absolutely wrong of me. I've been on here since July of 2018. I think go and check out my first video if you can find it. It was very raw. You know, things have changed. I have changed. I've gone through so much. My mum and dad were both alive when I launched this channel. They're no longer with us anymore. Very, very sad. Things have changed in my life. I have changed, and what's been great, actually, as I've grown with this channel, you know, people have gotten to know me, and I've gotten to know some great people, and it's been brilliant. Some people have left the platform, some people have joined the platform and stayed, and I'm very, very grateful to all of your support. No matter how much of a lack of, you know, interactions I get and subs I get, you know, it doesn't matter. This channel will always be here for the small bunch of people who appreciate directness and honesty. Basically, I'm the James Wann of DC YouTube. So I love James Wann's directness and honesty. I believe everything he's saying because my knowledge of this film, because I saw a test screening, and because I do my investigative research when a film's launched. I know they try to kind of shrink Heard's appearance in the movie via the script, but they also wanted to replace her, which would have been the best scenario for the movie. And you know what? It's sad because she's a great Mira. She was great in the first movie. You know, James Wann got a performance out of her. Anyone who gets a performance out of Dolph Lundgren, for example, is a fucking good director. I was surprised how good Lundgren was as Mira's father in the first Aquaman, and he's back for the sequel, and he's just as good, if not better, again, and that's amazing, because Dolph Lundgren couldn't act his way out of a paper bag, let's be honest about it, but Wann got performances from a lot of inexperienced people, and people who didn't train, you know, didn't train at RADA, didn't go to performing arts schools and things like that, just there for other reasons and because they're connected to other people. Amber Heard, the only reason you know that name is because she married Johnny Depp and she was with Johnny Depp. That's the only reason she had an opportunity in this industry. It's the only reason she ever got to play Mira, because of Johnny Depp. And the fallout because of their relationship is ridiculous. And I don't think that James and Jason's movie deserves to be damaged because of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. So I'm not going to make her a big deal within this film and my discussions in this film. I asked the question the other day, will she be part of the marketing? Well, personally, it would be a really, really good idea if she wasn't, but who knows? Now, when you have an auteur like Wann, normally they're in charge of the editing of the trailer and what goes out to the public. As I say, WB are not really marketing this film. James Wann has decided to put himself forward and told them, look, I'm going to do this. Shut the fuck up. Don't do your normal virtual signaling bullshit. Right, actors can't talk. We've got a writers and actors strike, so no one can come and talk. Who knows if these industrial actions will be resolved by December. We've got a few months. Who knows? I believe it could even go longer than that. You know, I don't care because I don't need actors to start talking about movies. But to be fair, all the cast of Aquaman are great people, and I expect they won't be virtue signalling or talking the usual shit some of these people do. But it is an environmental movie. Now, we know a lot of people are kind of climate change deniers. I don't mind this kind of commentary. We had it in Man of Steel, actually, because Man of Steel is a very, very interesting film, because it's kind of a pre-warning to the future of our planet. Not only is it a great, epic, awesome, neat CBN, that's gee whiz, it's a precautionary tale, Man of Steel. Basically, Krypton is the planet Earth, right? They fucked the planet up, it blows up, and they all denied it. The Kryptonian Council never thought it would happen. You know, Zod and Jor-El warned them. That's why Zod does what he does to them, because he's fucked off with them being in denial. Then Zod comes to Earth. What does he want to do? He wants to rebuild Krypton on Earth. This is exactly what NASA are doing, right? NASA are taking their world engines to other planets and trying to make them, you know, have our atmosphere. So when we finally do fuck up the planet Earth, that we can move to another planet. And this is the commentary in Man of Steel. But just like the commentary in Man of Steel, the environmental commentary in Man of Steel doesn't smack you over the head. It's very clever and it's very sharp, and if you're intelligent enough, you see it, but if you don't want to see it, it's not there. So, and this is the same with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. It doesn't smack you over the head. As a lot of us already know, Jason Momoa co-wrote this script, which is very, very exciting. Look, Jason Momoa is a great guy. Actually, I've been coming up with a story idea where me and Jason Momoa could be in a movie together as brothers. As you know, I shave my head, and I've got this idea that Jason Momoa, I know I've changed the subject, but Jason Momoa, in my movie, we would be together. We would be brothers, so he would have to shave his head and his beard all off to be in my movie and be my brother in this story. And I just know that Jason would never do it. I would never have an opportunity to be in a movie with Jason Momoa. But while I was watching BTS for Aquaman, I thought, wouldn't it be cool if he just shaved it all off and we were brothers in a movie? That would be so cool. But Jason Momoa, I'd have to tie him down to do that, but that would be fun. So my excitement level for the Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom trailer is really, really high. I'm so hyped, guys. I'm very, very excited for this movie. I wasn't before they teased this trailer. I was like, it's going to be crap and all of that. I was being really negative. And with me, I always change with the additional information that I get. Look, I saw a test screening. I liked the test screening. And then I was hearing they were changing this film constantly, and that worried me. I'm glad that James Wann said, really, we didn't have many reshoots. Because, you know, someone on the internet can go, well, you know, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is having loads of reshoots, and we just take it as fact with no evidence. We just believe the shit that people say. The problem is we've got to be very, very careful when it comes to DC, because there's different fan communities leaking bullshit. You know, it's very, very interesting who people trust. You know, sometimes when I'm on here and people say, oh, have you ever watched this guy's YouTube channel before? So, like, this Aaron Fisher guy, this Aaron Fincher, or whoever he is, right, very anti-James Gunn, very restore the Snyderverse. He does a lot of good stuff. But the other day I saw a clickbait title of his saying that WB announced a Justice League trilogy. Now, we know there's a Justice League trilogy coming for the animated universe, and I think this is what he was talking about. So it's interesting, someone can come across really, really genuine, but they're still doing clickbait titles and articles, and that's a shame. And what I've always wanted from this channel is for it to be direct, honest, and you know I'm very passionate about DC, other movies and TV shows. So that's my passion, and it's always been my plan to expand this channel if it ever becomes successful enough. And you know, we will get there one day. But this is not about trying to become famous. It's not about me trying, you know, me just saying stuff so I can get more and more subscribers. This is a place for me to be heard. Even if I'm only being heard by 50, 60 people a day on these videos, that's fine. Even if only one person was watching these videos, it would be fine. It's not about that. People are free to watch my stuff, but really it's about me having a voice, and it's about you having a voice from someone who's like you. The only difference between you and me is that I have the confidence to sit here and talk looking at a camera. That's it. I'm no better than you, and you're no better than me. We're all the same pieces of shit at the end of the day. We have our good qualities, we have our bad qualities, and you know, we've got to forgive ourselves for the bad stuff we do every day in the world, but we're human beings and we love our gig. The entertainment industry has been destroyed. We once used to be able to escape in superhero movies, in space movies, in alien movies, in horror movies. We can't do that anymore. So when someone like James Wann is going to give us something epic and awesome for 2.5 hours, we've got to really look forward to it. And hopefully this is James Wann's movie, as he says it is, and it's not James Gunn's movie. So, you see, things like him making suggestions to James Wann, I don't like that. You shouldn't... Why is James Gunn giving James Wann suggestions on Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom? That should never be a thing. Why? Why? Why are you interfering with that movie? It should have nothing to do with you. And again, because you and Zaslav and Saffron have decided to not do a full reboot, You're interfering with this man's movie because it probably contradicts your future plans. That's not fair. That isn't right. James Wan gave us a brilliant movie. If this movie's shit, I'm not going to blame James Wan. I'm not going to blame Jason Momoa. It's on James Gunn. But it's going to be very, very interesting because I suspect that James Gunn is moving away from this movie because this is really James Wan's movie and he wants nothing to do with it. And he's not going to help promote it, probably out of spite. But the best thing for this movie in the marketing is to only have one voice. And that's James Wan's voice. James Wan's passion for film, for Aquaman, for DC, is all we need to sell this movie. James Gunn had an opportunity to sell 4 other DC movies and he failed. Where was his fans? Where was the excitement? We were lied to that Tom Cruise and Stephen King loved this movie. Tom Cruise didn't blatantly say he loved the movie, but he allowed them, because he got some IMAX screens for his latest Mission Impossible movie, to say that he loved the movie. Now, Stephen King directly came out, because of his connections with the It reboot with Andy Muschietti, came out to support Andy and say he loved the movie. He was, of course, lying. It isn't a very good movie. There are some good things within the movie, but it isn't a very good movie, and they lied about that. And the public saw through it, which I think was very, very good. Basically, the public love genuine, straight-talking people. They know James Gunn's a bullshitter. They know David Zaslav is a bullshitter. But they know James Wan is the real deal. The audience have a relationship with James. He has his fans like other directors do these days. And they know one thing, that James Wan makes great movies and they always go and support his movies. They know he's a truth teller. They know he's not a bullshitter. That's why I like James Wan. That's why it's a shame he's not the co-CEO of DC Studios. Seeing he's worked with Safran before with the first Aquaman and they worked really well. So it makes sense. He's got production experience and he could make, as I say, I would have loved him to direct Superman Legacy or whatever he would have called it. He would make a better job out of a Superman movie than James Gunn will, and you can bet your bottom dollar on that. That's not where we are, but if Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is very, very successful, and this is actually James Wan's movie, and Gunn's ideas have been rejected by Wan, as I've been told, then this will put Gunn in a very interesting situation. As I say, Gunn has been very, very quiet. And James Wan is doing all the talking, which I think is an excellent idea. So I'm absolutely riveted, along with you, to find out what this trailer is. And if it is the movie, when we go and watch it on December the 20th, 22nd, whenever it is, if it's the same movie I saw in the early test screenings, of course there's going to be changes. You know, it's a test screening for a reason. But I want this to be James and Jason's movie. I want to see the BTS afterwards, that, you know, James and Jason had as much fun making this movie as they did in the first movie when I watched the BTS. So I want this movie to be large. I want it to be epic. I want it to be everything that the first movie was and more. What I love about this movie, it naturally progresses from the first movie. You know, at the end of the first movie, when Orm is arrested, what does Arthur say to him? When you're ready, we'll talk. And that's exactly what happens in this movie. It makes absolute sense that Amber Heard's mirror isn't a big deal in this movie. And of course, we saw within the post-credit scene of the movie that Black Manta is ready for revenge. Again, it's a progression from the first movie to the second movie. So you can tell they haven't really changed much just to accommodate the situation with Amber Heard. People will make her a big deal. As I say, Amber Heard isn't anything special. She isn't a big deal. She's just a woman who married a very, very famous actor. That's it. Stop making her a big deal. Stop talking about her. Stop being triggered by her, right? I mean, I saw Elon Musk put a very provocative picture of her up the other day, and I think it's toxic. Whatever she's done, you know, she don't deserve that. Yeah, if she's a bad person, she's a bad person. But we've got to be better people. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is not about Amber Heard. It's about Jason Momoa. It's about the rest of the cast. We've got an all-star cast. James Wan is going to kill it, and I'm very much looking forward to reacting to this trailer later on with all of you. Bring it on. Let's keep that DC positivity going for now, at the very least.